guys, so today I wanted to talk to you about things that you might want to know before visiting Mexico, or perhaps if you're thinking about moving to Mexico and you're just in the initial phase of doing some research about Mexico in general, this is for you. The first thing I think people should know is that Mexico is huge. It's something like the 12th or 13th largest country in the world. It's a huge landmass, so getting your itinerary straight is important. If you think that you're going to fly into Mexico City, spend 2 days in Mexico City, and then 2 days in Oaxaca and 2 days in Puerto Vallarta, you have to factor in getting to the airport, how long it's going to take to fly everywhere, getting back to from the airport at the other end. Traveling around Mexico is easy and it's pretty affordable, but it can take a really long time. If you're going to be bus traveling around Mexico, it's great. It's a great service. It's really affordable. You can go between pretty much any major city, and then major cities and beach towns that are nearby. It's really easy if you download the ADO app. I can show you that now. That red ADO there, that's the ADO app. It's super easy to use. And as soon as you've downloaded it, you can buy tickets. You can buy tickets for, I believe, up to 6 months in advance or something. You can pay with foreign credit cards, and you have your ticket then on your phone. You just have to make sure that you have access to the app. If you, say, don't have data or Wi-Fi, you can take a screenshot of it. But I believe also that you can store it in your wallet on Apple. I don't know if something like that exists on Google or Android phones, but yeah, super simple. You also save money if you use the ADO app because you're booking further in advance, and it means that when you show up to the bus station, you don't have to wait for the next available bus. You already know what time your bus is. Going along with planning your itinerary, I think it's super important to know that Mexico is not all about the beaches. There are great beaches. Puerto Vallarta is great, Cabo is great, Cancun is Cancun. But there's so much more to the country. I mean, there are thousands of miles of beaches in general, so if you have been to those beaches before and you love Mexico, I highly recommend moving up and down the coast. Puerto Escondido is amazing. I'm about to go to Huatulco in a few weeks. There's beautiful beaches in other parts of Baja California. The beaches around other parts of the Yucatan Peninsula are equally amazing. So don't just spend your time at these resorts because there's so much more to Mexico. And besides the beaches, the middle of the country it's amazing. Oaxaca, Chiapas, Mexico City, obviously, you know how much I love her. Guadalajara, San Luis Potosí, Veracruz, and more. Copper Canyon, yeah, I could keep going. I get this question a lot, and I try to be nice about it. Can you use US dollars in Mexico? Would you use euros in New York or British pounds in Australia? I mean, previously that happened, I guess, because they were colonized. But yes, in some places you can use US dollars. Cancun, I know they take them. Playa del Carmen, they try to get you to use them. I've seen it in parts of Tijuana and Ensenada, and I know in Cabo also. But the reality is that Mexico has its own currency. They use Mexican pesos, and if anyone is quoting you yes, we take dollars, the exchange rate they're giving you is awful. It's awful. It's made up. So if you want to save money in the places that accept dollars, please pay in pesos. You will save yourself money. In any other part of the country that isn't the sort of super American touristy locations, pesos are what you use. I've never seen a sign in Mexico City that says we accept dollars. There are plenty of places that you can exchange money. The Mexico City airport is actually a really great place to exchange money. Alternatively, there are ATMs everywhere in Mexico, so you can take cash out. I have a Charles Schwab bank account, which is an American kind of bank, sort of, but you can have a regular bank account there, and they don't charge you any ATM fees. If any of the banks here charge you ATM fees, they give you your money back. It's an awesome bank for traveling. I highly recommend checking it out. I actually have written a blog post about it, which I'll link below. And while we're on the topic of money, most of Mexico is cash. So even a lot of places in Mexico City, if you want to like go to markets or a tianguis, which is like a, you know, weekly kind of market, if you want street food, if you want to go to a bazaar and do some shopping, all those places are cash only. More and more places in Mexico City are starting to take card, and most restaurants and hotels, they take card without a problem. But you always want to make sure you have some cash on you, because it's just what most people accept over card. This is a hotly debated topic in Mexico City, but pretty much what I go for all around the country is that you can't drink the tap water. It's safe to drink in some places technically, but the pipes are old or the tanks aren't clean. Your best bet is just to not drink tap water. If you're going to be in Mexico for any length of time, you can buy huge bottles, they're 20 liters, and they're recycled. So when you buy your first bottle, you pay a bottle deposit, and then every time you go to, say, OXXO or 7-Eleven and you bring your empty bottle, you can swap the bottle with a full bottle, and there's no plastic waste, which is great. If you're only going to be here for a short period of time, I highly recommend a filter water bottle. I have a Life Straw. Basically, you can put any tap water, any kind of unclean water into it, and it clears 99.999% of the bacteria that's in the water. I've never had any stomach issues using that. I have a whole blog post about drinking water in Mexico and some of the other water bottles that I recommend for travelers. I'll link that below as well. If you have any questions about drinking the tap water, let me know. But please, don't ask for things without ice, you guys. Ice here is different than tap water. Literally everyone who puts ice in things gets their ice delivered. They come in the big plastic bags that you get when you go to Walmart and you fill your cooler. The ice is perfectly safe. If you want to have a cold margarita, I highly recommend getting it with ice. You'll be fine. Another thing that I think people are surprised about, and I was certainly surprised when I came here for the first time, outside of the super touristy areas like Cancun and like Playa del Carmen and maybe Puerto Vallarta and Cabo and Tijuana. Okay, outside of those highly touristy places, even when you come to Mexico City, Guadalajara, Oaxaca, people don't speak English. There are some people that speak English, sure, and lots of young people have learned English at school, or they watch English TV shows, or they listen to English music, so they understand a lot and they can like help you in situations. But if you're going into a restaurant, you're getting street food, or you're going to the grocery store, people are not going to speak English. So please do not just assume that people are going to speak English. Please do not just speak English at people. It's not nice. You're in Mexico where the language is Spanish, and so at least try to learn a little bit. Please, thank you. Being able to order food. These are super simple things you can learn on Duolingo or watching YouTube videos. Yeah, so try to learn a little bit of Spanish, unless you just plan to stay in Cancun, in which case, well, good luck. This has been something that's been upsetting me so much lately. When I've been meeting people who are visiting Mexico, they say things like, oh, I'm so tired of Mexican food now. I've been here like 5 days and I just want to have a pizza or something. So, you know, okay, I don't eat Mexican food every day. I don't eat out every day. I cook at home a lot. So, okay, I totally understand. Eating out for 5 days in a row is, you know, it's great. But not if you're eating the same thing every day. So I ask people what they eat, what they've been eating, and inevitably, all they can say is that they've been eating tacos. You guys, Mexican food is not just tacos. There are so many things that you can have that are Mexican. I don't know why I did that. But that are Mexican that aren't just tacos. Here in Mexico, there are so many varieties of foods. Sure, a lot of corn, tamales, even just like elote on a stick, like tlayudas and huaraches and gorditas. These are all tortilla-based things, and after a while they can also get very heavy. But you can go to restaurants in Mexico and have amazing sauces, pepita moles and other types, I mean literally endless types of moles. There are so many restaurants in Mexico City that I often recommend to people that are fresh, like Contramar or the tostada place in the Mercado Coyoacan is also amazing. You can get seafood and you can get moles and mushrooms and things that don't have corn also. There's so much Mexican food out there, so please broaden your horizons. Have a torta, have a pambazo, have a have chilaquiles for breakfast, or have molletes for breakfast, or have enchiladas for breakfast. Try different cafes like Cafe Popular in Mexico City. Try different places that do like comida corrida, which is like fast food, or in some parts of Mexico they call it comida económica. These are like little lunch places where you can have 3-course meals with a drink for, you know, less than $4, and you'll be able to taste some real like home style Mexican food. But please don't just have tacos, but also have tacos because they're delicious, and have all types of tacos. Just to touch a little bit on the climate in Mexico, it has 2 main seasons for the most part. For most of Mexico, you have a wet season and a dry season. Some parts of Mexico call the wet season the green season because obviously when the rain comes, everything gets super lush and green. The wet season runs from right around now. It's very cloudy. It's been cloudy all day. It might rain later, but usually like the start till the middle of June until October. Every year that I've lived here, the timing of when it ends has changed a little bit. It used to be like the end of September, fine. Last year it went kind of into the start of November, but then from November until May, it's the dry season. That means in a lot of places, especially the coastal regions, that the dry season is hot and the wet season is hot and humid, all really hot until it rains, and then it's humid and hot. In the central region of Mexico, like Mexico City, Guadalajara, San Miguel de Allende, and some parts of like Oaxaca, Puebla, it can get cooler during the wet season, like more flies during the wet season. It's actually warmest here in Mexico City, like in April and May, just before the wet season starts, and then the wet season comes and it's sort of cooler in the mornings, and then when it rains, it's much cooler, probably drops like 10 degrees Celsius. So yeah, plan your trip accordingly that way. Know that if you come to Mexico, even if you go to the beaches in July or August, it's probably gonna rain almost every day for at least an hour or two. Which brings me to my other point, that it's not always hot in Mexico. Sometimes here in Mexico City, it drops down to like 50 degrees Fahrenheit in the evenings in like January and February. Parts of the country that also have cooler temperatures. So definitely check the weather before you go. I went to Ensenada in January and I was not prepared for how cold it was. I thought it was gonna be super warm. It's Southern California. No, 75 degrees every day is a lie. It was 60 and below, even during the day, and at night it was super cold. So yeah, definitely do your research on the locations that you're gonna be visiting and make sure that you pack well. And the final point I was gonna make, which is something that I've been getting a lot more and more often because people are so fascinated by the Day of the Dead, it's not actually something that's celebrated all over Mexico. It's really like a central and southern Mexico tradition, and it came well before the Spanish, and now it's sort of been intermingled with All Saints Day, which is it's a Catholic holiday. But just because you come to Mexico for Day of the Dead doesn't necessarily mean that the location that you're visiting is going to have any sort of celebration. It's a tradition of the tribes of only some parts of Mexico, and even here in Mexico City, a lot of the things that you'll see have been completely fabricated and built up by the government to make more tourists want to come here. So just something to be aware of. So yeah, just a few things to be aware of. If you are visiting Mexico and I haven't covered a question that you have, please let me know in the comments. If you have any comments about some of the things that I've mentioned, I'd love to know your opinion as fellow expats or visitors to Mexico or people that live here. Yeah, let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. It really supports my channel. And please subscribe if you haven't already. I'm really working towards 5,000 subscribers, and it would be awesome if you would join me on this journey. Thanks as always for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye!